Yo, peace world. Happy Kimon Freeman, Angry Black Man in Therapy. I'm smiling today. How they say the witch is dead. All right. Here to talk about the assassination of Brian Thompson, the CEO of the largest health insurance provider in America, as promised at 3 o'clock. Some folks are clutching their pearls, but the words of Mom's Mabley, my mother taught me to be respectful of the dead. So they dead good. I think I messed up her quote. I think she said to speak good of the dead. So she said, my mother taught me to speak good of the dead. He's dead good. That's the Mom's Mabley quote. All right, so there we have it. For those who feel some kind of way that we somehow should not relish in the demise of anyone, I hope you feel the same about genocide. I hope you feel the same about the lives of every Congolese that dies for us to be on these devices that we are right now. I don't see us canceling any parties for those losses of life. So far be it for me. But this is a personal thing for me. For those who are unaware, I lost my youngest sister, who confused, as many people do, health insurance with health care. Health insurance is not health care, ladies and gentlemen. Health insurance is the people who are profiting off getting in between you and health care. That is what health insurance companies do. My sister has been gone for almost a decade now. She was in a car accident. She wasn't seriously injured, but she was T-boned and her door was damaged, so she couldn't get it open. So they had to cut her out to get her out of the car. Her health insurance provider stipulated that had she been conscious when she arrived to the hospital, they would have had to do a full body examination on her. But because she was conscious, they was only required to address her express ailments. She was complaining of her neck and her shoulder. So they addressed that. She went home undiagnosed with internal bleeding. She was dropping that's a millimeter of blood, a drop of blood or two a day. She had a slight puncture to her liver. Had she had been a full body examination, they would have caught that, was treated, she would still be here today. But because they figured that why waste money, because only 2 people out of 100 need a full body examination for every time they come in here. She was one of those 2. And say 2 or 3 months later, she collapsed in the home, rushed back to the hospital again, and this time she bleeds out because of the accumulated of internal bleeding. So she's dead because they wanted to increase their profit margin, because they feel like 98 out of 100 is a waste of money. And so for the 2 out of the 100, this is what they do. You would say, oh, well, that's a lawsuit. Okay, there's a lawsuit. My mother put together her little retainer, and the good ethical lawyer told my mother that he couldn't in good faith accept her $5,000 if she wasn't prepared to spend $50,000, because that's how much it was going to take for her to get a day in court. And that just simply because she was right, she still could lose. And if she did lose, they would countersue her for their lawyer fees, which would be far in excess of $50,000, and she could lose her home. And that's how to keep the 2 out of 100 in check. Okay, so that is my family history with health insurance companies. But let's get back to the day at hand. Shout out to the brother who stepped up, the light-skinned brother. The media couldn't even come to say that this is a white man or appears to be a white man. They said light-skinned. When have you ever heard the media refer to anybody as light-skinned? Like, my goodness, they was throwing shade even when they're reporting. Okay. All right, they called the brother light-skinned. So because of that, I'm going to go with what they said, light-skinned. So shout out to my light-skinned brother for doing what he felt was necessary. And people, oh, bruh, y'all want to, come on there. Y'all can miss me with that. But let's get into some of this, all right? I can't even pretend to care. I hope he's looking up at us. That is my favorite response on the demise, the assassination of Brian Thompson. This is from Dylan on soon-to-be banned TikTok. Shout out to Dylan. I can't even pretend to care. I hope he's looking up at us. Shout out to them. That was a dope one. But for those who are unaware, the fact of the matter is, we're going to get into why a lot of people will want to see Brian Thompson dead. But let's start with the fact that sometimes it's just about the money. And he being CEO Brian Thompson and the health insurance company he represented was under federal investigation for antitrust violations because apparently they dumped $15 million of stocks 2 weeks before telling shareholders or the public. All right. And so he was shot walking into an investors meeting with said people. So when the news is talking about, oh, we don't know what this is about, we don't know what, you clearly had a motive now, especially since it came out that they wrote the words deny, defend, dispose on the shell casings. All right. Now, shout out to the book Delay, Deny, Defend: Why Insurance Companies Don't Pay Claims and What You Can Do About It by Mr. J.M. Feynman. That was a great plug for the book. And if that doesn't give you a motive, I don't know what else is. So let's go through some of the responses that I just thought was incredible. All right, let's get this right. Brian Thompson was paid millions of dollars a year. Oh my goodness. To perpetuate a corrupt system that kills and bankrupts people for profit. The number one cause of bankruptcy in America is medical debt. The number one cause of bankruptcy in this country is medical debt. All right. People think GoFundMe is part of your healthcare plan. I mean, that's what it is. America is the only developed nation that refuses to provide healthcare to all its citizens. This is a wake-up call. Shout out to our light-skinned brother for making this national news. But Brian Thompson bankrupt people for profit. He, along with elected officials in both capitalist parties, that's both capitalist parties, stood in the way of nationalized healthcare systems, and they are all monsters. He was paid millions of dollars a year to perpetuate a corrupt system that kills and bankrupts people for profit. This is some of the responses. Under the current system, there's a corporation that only cares about profit standing in between us, our doctors, and the health care that we need. And if anyone has had any bad experiences with health insurance companies, please chat in here. Let's get into it. This is what I saw was people were saying that they use AI to deny hundreds. Yeah, they was using AI that had been proven to be 90% faulty, that it was erroneously denied. Not that they should be denying anybody's claim, but 90% of the claims were erroneous, and they still used it. Right? That's your AI, your artificial intelligence. So that is very true. But let's get into some of these other comments, man. I mean, let me tell you, man. I'm overjoyed to see that. What is the world coming to? What is the world coming to when a millionaire, a CEO, off the blood, sweat, and tears of people can't walk down the street? This is a new day. This is a new day. And they haven't really addressed the elephant in the room. Deny the claim, defend the lawsuit, dispose the patient. That's what is the mandate for these health insurance companies. Deny the claim, defend the lawsuit, and dispose the patient. That's their algorithm. That is their formula for maximizing profits. Single payer or nationalized healthcare systems could have saved a life today and every day. And every day. Or we like to say here in DC, every day. If you had a bad experience with health insurance companies, chat in right here. We'd love to hear from you. Just a reminder, health insurance companies don't provide health care. They profit from gatekeeping access to health care. Doctors and hospitals provide health care. As I said earlier, there's health insurance and health care is not the same thing. Shout out to Daniel Byron. Check this out. Blue Cross Blue Shield in Connecticut, New York, and Missouri has declared it will no longer pay for anesthesia for the full length of some emergencies. So he just did some people a favor. People being denied anesthesia. What are y'all, Palestinians? My goodness. Over 1 million Americans assassinated by private health care over the past 10 years. Reactions in D.C. on both sides of the political aisle range from disinterest to being completely fine with it. Those are two major political parties that we was talking about. Remember, as I said when I was campaigning, that I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, I'm D.C. All right? It's probably impossible to ever know the exact numbers of deaths that United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was responsible for, but since he committed the murders with a pen and not a gun, is it okay? CEO Brian Thompson was just 50 years old at the time of his murder, which is a lot more tragic when you know that his life expectancy as a member of the top 1% was 88, which is 15 years longer than the life expectancy of the average American male, which is about 25 years longer than a black American male, maybe even more for DC residents. That's something else to think about. Thompson, this was the AI, that a 90% error rate. That's about, we talking about the AI, 90% error rate. Most society in the West are not opposed to violence. The oppressor is only opposed to violence when the oppressed talks about using violence against the oppressor. Then the question of violence is raised as the incorrect means to attain one end. That is a great Kwame Ture, also known as Stokely Carmichael. Now, United Healthcare had the highest claim denial rate of any insurance company in America. This ain't got nothing to do with the fact that they're the biggest. This is not the scale, but they was doing the highest percentage, 32%. Oh, wow. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. And they're going to sit in the corporate news, the 6 corporations control most of what you see and read, is going to tell you they have no idea on a motive. Lord, a lot of people repeating the same things. They're talking about the denial rate. I'm going through the list of some of my favorite responses here. We got some comments coming in. I'll be responding to that in just a second. The way we socialize to see violence only as interpersonal, not see state violence. Policies that create poverty and kill. Structural violence, institutional violence is very deliberate. Same with panics about shoplifting versus how much corporations steal from every single one of us. How about that? Brian Thompson killed more U.S. citizens than every serial killer combined. But because he made money off of it, the media considered him a successful businessman and morally upstanding citizen. So they're here talking about, oh, he was a family man and his wife and kids. Not going to talk about any of the dirt that he's did and that he's responsible for. Imagine a future where every oligarch has to hide away and never show their face in public and must suffer instead of live. Wouldn't it be beautiful? Yeah, well, the 1% can't even walk down the street. What stage of capitalism is it when CEOs die and everyone subsequently laughs their asses off? Hey. All right, let's see what you got here. What stage of capitalism are we in? Late stage capitalism? Late stage capitalism. Let's see, we got one more. Kill one person, you're a murderer. Kill 100,000, you're increasing shareholder value. We're increasing shareholder value. That's what we're talking about. All right, see, we got some comments here. They're doing this, screening on folks with Medicaid and Medicare so they can then fix their bad surgery. Oh, double billing. Oh, my goodness. And, they actually, it's been a whole thing about how private equity will hit you with surprise charges in the hospital. Like, you get the bill and they pay, like, the Pentagon pays $800 for, a screwdriver or something like that. That's a real reporting fact. They pay $800 for a screwdriver. All right. The Pentagon hasn't passed an audit. It's, in years, I don't throw the number out there because I don't want to be wrong, but it has been years if they have ever passed an audit, and that's an $800 billion budget. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are talking about the assassination of CEO Brian Thompson of the largest health insurance company in America, the country that spends the most on health care of any country in the world. All right, GoFundMe is not part of your healthcare plan. Let's get into it. Who else got something to say? We're clearing the air here, and that's just reported that they're even actually refusing to provide sufficient amount of anesthesia during surgeries. That's what some health insurance companies are doing. So we're reaching the breaking point. Frederick Douglass, ironically, the hostel that the assassin stayed in was near Frederick Douglass. Was it park or Frederick Douglass building? It was Frederick Douglass house or something in New York that the hostel is near. So when they brought up Frederick Douglass' name in their report, I was like, that's great, because Frederick Douglass is famous for saying that the measurement of a tyrant is best measured by the endurance of the people. The power of a tyrant is measured by the endurance of the people. I think our translation is the amount of shit you can take is equal to the sum total of the amount of shit you shall receive. Okay, and I think that in this stage of capitalism, late stage of capitalism, that we are clearly reaching the breaking point. Clearly, this assassin had reached the breaking point. So whether he was acting as his fiduciary duties to the shareholders, because the dude was guilty of inside trading when he dumped $15 million worth of stocks before making it known that they was under federal investigation for antitrust violations, or whether or not he or someone he loved themselves were a victim of the health insurance scams that prevents people from having the health care they deserve and paid for, or if he was just a hired hand for one of those previous mentioned parties. However it goes down, I think he did an excellent job. I think that the fact that he was able to unclear jam gun, that he left his messages on the shell casings. The fact that he had a clean getaway means that some thought went into this. I hate seeing dumb criminals. Don't we get enough of that? This was something from the movies. And this was also, think about the location in Midtown Manhattan during rush hour. How packed, moving around. He could have got him anytime he wanted. He got it right there because a nice way to blend in with the crowd, and cutting through Central Park. That was it right there. With all those cameras in Manhattan, he circumvented the system because you can't track him through Central Park. That's what it is. And you know what happened? He went into Central Park, changed clothes, come out looking completely different on the other side of town. Point blank. And that's how they lost him. And he's not even in New York. I would bet a nickel to a dollar that he is out of New York. Right? Out of New York. So it's a wrap. And the cops will tell you that it's a real small window for them to close in, and they don't have much to go on. I just thought it was also ironic that they put up a $10,000 reward. I'm like, wow, $10,000 reward? That's what they thought about him? He's a millionaire, and they only put up $10,000. He might not be that missed. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of low, don't you think? Manhattan, Midtown, millionaire shot and brought. Oh my goodness, 10,000. They do more than that. They did more than that for Harriet Tubman 200 years ago. Well, it wasn't 200 years ago. Let's say about 150 years ago. What we doing? 65, 35. Well, let's go with 200. But yeah, folks get shot now. They'll come up with $25,000 reward. 10,000. I thought that speaks volumes. Shout out to NYPD. Anyone got anything else to say? I just want to say for the CEO, when have last time we seen that CEO assassinated, y'all? A CEO was assassinated. Oh, let's see what we got here. I hope this will make it more so doctors turn down those with okay. All right. I hope this will make it more so more doctors turn down those with those spots so they can Interesting comments in the comment section, y'all. Y'all might want to comb through these yourselves. Some great points are being made. But for a CEO to be assassinated in New York, I could not let it go. As I alluded to earlier, for those who just joined me, my sister was lost her life because she confused healthcare with health insurance, and a lot of people still do. They come about Obamacare or whatever. That's not healthcare. That's not healthcare, y'all. That is not healthcare. So Brian Thompson gets no tears from me. I can't even pretend to care. I hope he's looking up at us. Shout out to Dylan on soon to be banned TikTok. Anyone else got anything to say? I want to make sure that I kept this tight. He didn't have no security detail. And the fact of the matter is, I think obviously my brother had. I'm talking about the assassin. He had some real intel because for him to lay in wait for less than 10 minutes, I think it was closer to 5 minutes before dude popped out. Like, so he had a burner. Somebody dropped the phone. He didn't drop a phone by mistake. That was a burner phone. You know what I'm saying? That was a burner phone. Someone called him to let him know he's coming down. He's coming down. All right? Because there's no other explanation how he can be that tight. Even if he knew his schedule, dude was in town for this meeting. The meeting wasn't for another hour or some change, right? And this dude was there. I think the meeting was like at 8 a.m. and he's coming out the hotel at 6:45. All right? Now, that's some inside information. Somebody hit dude to, he's coming out. You know what I'm saying? And boom. That's how it was. That was inside information. They kept it tight. All right. So I think now you have a whole lot of conversations going on in boardrooms right now. And of course, they canceled their investor meeting. They all had to go home or undisclosed location. And they're shaking. Private equity is shaking right now, as they should be. And they should be. Because what we don't understand is that private equity is the real culprit behind all this. The private equity is the culprit behind the healthcare prices and the number one bankruptcy in America. Private equity is behind the housing crisis, who bought up so many houses and try to create a rentership society. All right. So you have corporations owning private homes. All right. That's driving up the prices. All right. Private equity is the problem. All right. And we need to understand it. And they are now very concerned about walking down the street. Now you're going to have every hedge fund manager, all these corrupt people are going to be walking around going to be riding around because they ain't walking no more. They're going to have a security detail whenever they pop up. So this is clearly late stage capitalism because you can't have 1% living freely this entire time. I mean, come on. They want to control and own everything. All right. Right here in DC, the DMV had the highest rental increase of any metropolitan area in the country. All right. In the country. Private equity is behind that. Private equity. And this was the Empire Strike Back. And I just want to, and the fact that it was on December 4th, I mean, where I usually is a day of mourning for me, because the assassination of Fred Hampton. So we're going from the assassination of Fred Hampton with the state taking hours as they normally do. Here's a rare instance where they suffered a loss. They suffered a loss. And now the media is having trouble trying to even report the facts of the case. They're doing their best not to acknowledge the evils of these healthcare insurance. I'm surprised they even mentioned the book. Delay, Deny, Defend, Why Insurance Companies Don't Pay Claims and What You Can Do About It by J.M. Feynman. I haven't read the book. I know I'm like a lot of people now want to read the book. I can't believe they did that. But because he put those messages on the shell casing, they had to report it. They had to report it. They're not going to talk about it, but they had to report it. All right. Any more comments up here? Because I want to keep it tight. There's a class action lawsuit for that real page suit. Oh, here we go. Renters in reference. Oh, man, let me tell y'all. This is opening up a can of worms. This is a Pandora's box. And I want to know how they're going to frame this when NYPD, America's largest police force in the country, fails in apprehending the suspect. And I'm predicting that he's going to get away. And if he does get away, then they're going to try to find some fall guy depending on, they're going to find somebody to do. So we'll see, because your mayor was talking about we're going to apprehend someone. I'm like, he didn't say we're going to apprehend the killer. He said we're going to apprehend someone. Because that's what they do. They might not find the guy. They're going to find another light-skinned brother. Light skin. Oh my God. When they said light skin on the news, I was about to fall out my seat, man. This is too much. Hey, look, when people ask you how you doing, tell them you're enjoying the revolution and you hope they're doing the same, because this is clearly late stage capitalism. When the news is reporting they're looking for a light skinned person And a CEO was assassinated in Midtown Manhattan, and not quite broad daylight. It was still a little dark outside before the sun come up, but in morning rush hour. And I wonder what the other CEOs are talking about right now. I wonder. I wish I could be a fly on the wall to hear what they're talking about right now. And I'm wondering how they're going to move forward in their nefarious business policies, because this, ladies and gentlemen, is setting a precedence. Because now, as I said earlier, the can of worms has been opened, Pandora's box has been opened, and a lot of people are going to start paying attention to what's going on, and the 1% are now nervous and possibly shaking in their boots, and they should. So that's it. Yes, they deserve to die, and I hope they burn in hell. All right? This is Pappy Come On Freeman, Angry Black Man Therapy, telling to you that health insurance is not health care. And America is the only developed nation that refuses to provide health care to all of its citizens. They even going so far to deny anesthesia and want to treat you like you Palestinians. So do something. Peace out, y'all. Stay safe, stay strong, stay woke. I'll see you on the other side of things. One love.